Today we're going to do a firsts tag. My first time, your firsts, my firsts, whatever you want to call it. We're going to do a tag today because I am just sitting around in my sweatpants feeling like I just want to chill and talk, and so that's what we're going to do. First pet. So my first pet was a dog from the pound. I have no idea what breed she was because she was a mutt, so she was a mix of a bunch of different dogs that I don't really know. She had like a lot of hair that was like a beard. Her name was like Black Bear, I don't know, but we just called her Bear. I was really into the TV show Zaboomafoo at the time. And like when they had their like niece or whoever, you know, come to visit and she had two dogs, I just remember she had a black dog named Blackie. And so when we had a dog, my dog was black and I wanted to name her Blackie, and my sister and my mom were like, there's no way, that's dumb. So we ended up naming her Bear, and she was the sweetest dog. And then she ran away, and that was really sad. First grade teacher. My first grade teacher is probably one of my favorite teachers throughout my entire school experience. Her name was Miss Daniels, and she was wonderful. I was, and I mean still am, but was a super sensitive child. I'm telling you, like if a teacher or adult or authority figure even like sort of raised their voice at me, I would cry. And so I was a very difficult child to teach and discipline and blah, 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 blah. But she was wonderful. I will just always have a special place in my heart for her because she's definitely one of my favorite teachers that I've ever had. First cell phone. My first cell phone was this like brick of a cell phone, like this big, and it was pink and the back of it had a Tweety bird on it. And that was not one that my parents bought me. That was one where you had like prepaid minutes or whatever, and I bought myself. I saved up and convinced my parents. I've always been way too obsessed with like technology and cell phones and stuff, and I think mostly when I was little it's because like it made me feel older, like all the like older people and, you know, everybody on TV that I saw had a cell phone and blah 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 blah. I had this brick of a cell phone that I saved all my money, all my allowance, all my birthday money, and saved up and went and we bought a prepaid phone with prepaid minutes, and I was like, this is my phone. First relationship. Now I guess it kind of depends on what you call like boyfriend, girlfriend, like official. Technically, the first relationship I had, I was in 6th grade, and this is so pathetic and sad. This is like, oh my god, it was one of those where like, I'm pretty sure it was a joke, because I was not the coolest kid. One of the like cool kids, in school, I sat next to him and he like passed me a note. One of those like, will you go out with me, circle yes or no, passed me one of those. And I was like, oh my god, I like didn't know what to do. I didn't really want to say yes because I was like, I didn't really feel some type, like he was cute, but otherwise I didn't like really care one way or another. But like I didn't, so I remember saying yes, and then it pissed this other girl off in our class, and it was this whole like 6th grade drama. Me and my best friend at the time ended up being pushed against the wall and like forced, like, you better break up with him. I didn't even break up with him, somebody else broke up with him for me, and he was just kind of like, okay, like I don't really care. And that was really my first relationship, and it was probably the dumbest thing, but that's 6th grade for you. My first kiss, again, it depends on what you call like first kiss, but I'm just gonna go with this one. It was like the dumbest thing. I was at my aunt's house, and she lives out of town, with my cousins, and my cousins had like one of their friends over, and he was a year older than me, and I like thought he was the cutest thing. And apparently, like, he liked me too, after only knowing each other for a day. They had a bunch of friends over, and so, like, their friends were spending the night. And they, in the middle of the night, we were, like, all up, and my guy cousin, we were staying in a different room. It was, like, boys in one room, girls in another, and my boy cousin came in and was like, he really likes you, he wants to go out with you. And I was like, oh my God, okay. I was just, it was the summer before 6th and 7th grade. And I was like, oh my God, okay. And then like right before we like officially went to sleep, he like ran in and like kissed me really quick on the lips and then left. And I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, it was so dumb. At the time I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then I never saw him again. Ever. We were supposed to like stay in touch, but we never got each other's numbers, we never anything. And I never ever saw him again. And I remember the first time in 7th grade when I got because I had a boyfriend in 7th grade, and I remember when I like got in a relationship, my first thought was like, oh God, what if I see that other guy again and he like thinks we're still in a relationship? I never saw that kid again. I don't know where he is. First love, all of these like relationship type ones kind of depends on what you consider first, whatever, you know, like, is it like legit, or is it like, you know, do little, you know, when you're a kid, do ones count? My first love, I was like convinced that I was in love with one of my guy best friends from elementary school. I like thought I was like head over heels in love with him. We kind of had one of those things when you're like a little kid and like you like each other, but it's like we're just gonna pretend that we don't like each other even though it's obvious to like everyone that we do. And I was like super duper like little kid in love with him, and I just thought he was the most wonderful thing in the world, and then was so heartbroken because when I switched schools because we moved, everybody like came up at the end of the year and like gave me a hug because they knew I was leaving, and like gave me a hug and was like, oh my gosh, no one miss you, whatever. And I just remember he just walked up to me and we like looked at each other and he was like, bye. And I was like, bye. And I remember going home to my mom and being like, he didn't even hug me, goodbye, and being so upset. And it was like the most dramatic thing. And I just looked back and I was like, oh my God. It really wasn't that big of a deal, but I was just so upset because I didn't get a hug at the end of the year before I moved. First person you subscribe to on YouTube, I think like legitimately the first person I ever subscribed to on YouTube was Fred. I think that's probably the case for a lot of people my age. That was like kind of the big thing that like at the time that came from YouTube. And then from there, like the first few that I like watched constantly would be iJustine, who then introduced me to Tobuscus / Toby Turner. And then I think Jenna Marbles. I think that was the three. iJustine, Tobuscus, and Jenna Marbles, I think were the first three that I like officially subscribed to enough to where I watched their videos every single day and was like super into them. And now I only watch one of 3 of those, so just kind of shows you how much your taste changes over the years. First celebrity crush. This changes so much because I forget about celebrities that I like came across or, you know, saw or whatever. I don't remember my first male celebrity crush that I had. I honestly can't even remember having a legitimate male crush when I was little. Like, I remember thinking that like certain male celebrities were cute, like, you know, Zac Efron was cute and, you know, blah, 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 blah. But I would never really had like a crush on them. The very first one that I remember having more than any other ones was Hayden Panettiere, and I'm still in love with her. Like, have the biggest crush because it like goes back to when I was little. But I thought she was like the prettiest and the coolest and all that, because and I remember the first time I saw her was when she was in that movie Ice Princess, and I just thought she was like the prettiest and the coolest and all of these other things. And she in the movie she was an ice skater, which I wanted to be an ice skater. So it was just she was like my ultimate celebrity crush, and I didn't realize it at the time, but then I grew up like and was like, oh my god, like I had such a hardcore crush on her. It was ridiculous. My first concert was actually a Keith Urban concert, and I went with my sister-in-law, and I hadn't actually listened to Keith Urban in years when I actually went, but she was like, you like Keith Urban, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, you, your sister, and I, we should buy tickets, and you know, he's at this venue really close by us. And I was like, yeah. And we went, and I actually knew a lot more songs than I thought I did. And he like walked right by us, and like my sister-in-law like touched his shoulder. It was like a whole thing. And that was not until I was like 6th grade, I think, maybe. And then the next big one after that was I saw Glee live, and that was amazing, exciting. First broken bone. I haven't broken any major bones. Like I haven't broken an arm or a hand or a leg or a wrist or blah, 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 blah. And all my friends have or had or whatever growing up. And this sounds so dumb. Please tell me if anybody else felt this way. But like I felt it was like the cool, like you had to break a bone in order to be like grow up or like whatever. And I wanted to break a bone. I didn't ever actually, the only bone I've ever broken in my life was my big toe, and I broke it a few years ago. I was carrying laundry down the stairs, I slipped and I fell, and like at the bottom of the stairs, and my big toe bent when it hit our hardwood floor, and I broke it, and I didn't get a cast, or there was nothing really I could do. I just kind of hobbled around with a broken toe for, you know, a few months until it healed, and that's the only bone that I've broken in my entire life. But I'm happy because now I can say that I've broken a bone, because little me inside still felt like, you have to break a bone in order to be an adult. Please let me know if anybody else felt that way about like breaking your bones and needing to break a bone, or thinking it was like cool or whatever. That's such a weird thought. I don't know why that was ever something that I thought. First piercing. So my first piercing was my ears, and they're my only piercing. And I didn't even plan to get them pierced. All these stories make me sound like such a little brat, but I didn't even, when we went out, we didn't go out with the intention of getting my ears pierced. We went out with the intention of getting my sister's ears pierced. And she got her ears pierced in a Claire's at the mall, and we were on our way out to the car to go home, and I was in such a sour mood and was throwing such a little temper tantrum about the fact that I didn't have my ears pierced that my parents turned around, went back in the mall, and we got my ears pierced. And when I actually got them pierced, I was like, I was so, it hurt. I'm like, when I was little, I was such a wimp with pain, and so it like, I was sitting in the chair, and like right before she did it, I like changed my mind so hard, and my mom was like, you're already too far, like just sit, you're almost done. And I was like, I don't wanna. But I only have my ears pierced. I've considered getting the industrial, like the bar piercing, or like a little stud in my nose, because my best friend has a stud, along with a bunch of other piercings. I've always thought about it, but I just haven't. I've just never gone back into any piercing place or anything. And I've never really thought like if piercings would be a thing that would look good on me. And I don't even really wear earrings that often anyway, so. First CD you purchase, I'm gonna consider this purchase like I did it with my own money. And I'm pretty sure the first one that I purchased was a Cheetah Girls CD. Like I saved my money and like bought it all by myself. Cheetah Girls was like the shit. I was obsessed with them and with Disney in general. Like the Disney Channel. Watched like all the shows and was just in love with them for way longer than I probably should have been. That is all I have for you guys today. That I completely went down my list of firsts to tell you guys. And I feel like we shared some stuff. I will put the questions down below so that if you guys want, you can answer them in the tags, or you can answer them in your own video, or do whatever you want with them. This was kind of compiled of like 3 different first time tags. Like there were a few that I found a few different versions of it, but there were a few that didn't apply to me, or that I didn't really want to answer on camera or whatever. So this is, I guess, kind of my own compilation of first time questions or whatever. So I'll put all those down below. I hope that you guys enjoyed and that you learned some things that you care about me, or that you want to know about me. Again, let me know if you had any of the same thoughts that I had about when we were little or whatever. I thought a lot of weird things when I was little, and I would like for some people to share. Maybe I will make a whole video about weird ass things that I thought when I was little, but for now, that's all I have to tell you for today, and I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, please. It really helps me. If you want to see more videos that I post in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It makes me so happy, and I would love to continue to go on this little journey with you guys. Okay, I have one more to share with you guys, one more first. My first tweet was January 10th, 2012. At 12:49 a.m. I said school starts tomorrow and I'm awake at 12:48 a.m. Oh geez, hashtag thumbs up. So that was what I felt was first tweet worthy, and that was my first tweet back in 2012 when I started my Twitter. You can follow my Twitter from the link below or on the link in my channel bar thing. So see what other thrilling things that I decide to tell you guys about in my tweets.